Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to the Anti-Media Radio. You're here live with Lavonne and guest Adam Brobjorg. He's an artist, a musician, and a fashion designer, just to name a few. How are you doing tonight, Adam? Hello? Are you there? Oh no, Adam, I can't hear you. Where'd you go? Hello, hello. Strange. We did a test call and everything. Guess it wouldn't be a normal Friday unless I had some sort of technical error. Are you there, buddy? Hello, hello. So while we try to get Adam back on the line here, I wanted to thank you guys for joining me on this Friday evening. We try and balance out the week's news, which is typically shitty and depressing and full of what the fuck are you serious moments. My guest says he can hear me. No, buddy, I can't hear you. Whatever you did right before the call, undo that. All right. So Fridays, we try and balance out the news with something awesome in relation to people, us doing the thing other than what I like to call being a human doing versus being a human being. So in honor of that, my guest Adam is going to talk to us about his journey in his life school this far, how he got exactly where he is, and why he does what he does. Because we learn from each other, and we all have something to share. And let me try and call my guest right back so we can get him connected here. Sorry for the technical errors. You know I like to be consistent with y'all, so gotta make sure that I have an error every Friday. It just wouldn't be regular, would it? Just trying to get Adam on the line here. Crossing fingers. Are you there? Are you there?
Hey, you there?
Yay! I hear you.
Cool.
So I was just telling my audience about how on Fridays I like to change up the tone of the news, and we like to balance out the news with what I call objective perspective, which is this show right here. We talk to lots of awesome people doing cool things in the world, typically inspiring things, or stories of overcoming something hard, or sometimes people call and just talk about how their heart's broken. It's just a night to kind of balance out all the shitty things we hear in the world. And remember that we're all humans getting through life school, and sometimes it's not easy, sometimes it's awesome, but it's easy to kind of lose motivation in today's society, I think. So I just try and balance that out. So thank you for being here, buddy.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So you do a lot of things. I don't even know if my introduction was proper. You want to start off by telling people a few of the things you do and what kind of things you create?
Okay, currently I'm obsessed with creating electronic music, and then on top of that, I've got a pretty big passion for creating digital art and then turning it into clothing or big pieces of art that hang up on walls, that kind of thing. And those are the two biggest things that I love creating right now. Art used to be my favorite thing, and now I guess music has taken over a bit. But there's some days when I'll just kind of take a break from music for a little bit and just work on art stuff. I like to keep them in balance. But the thing is since I've been doing art for like 10 years consistently, I need to catch up by doing a lot of music. So, yeah.
I hear you. I like that. It's good to be multifaceted. It's awesome that you're an individual that can do a multitude of things. Um, Not a lot of artists have that ability, like they are a one technique type of creator. Do you think that it's hard, excuse me, it's hard to be lucrative or make a living as an artist? Um, if you're not original, meaning you don't do something that blows people's minds, or if you're not multifaceted, like do you think you have to be a combination of the both? Or do you think it's I don't know, you say you've been making art for 10 years. Is it lucrative
Uh,
for
I
you?
feel okay. So let's just play out an example of kind of what you're talking about. So let's just say there's an artist who just starts making art today and wants to turn his or her artworks into something that can provide an income for his or her lifestyle. I think it's absolutely possible,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that an artist has to believe in his or herself, and some things don't happen overnight. And I've had so many different people tell me that this and that and this and that and this and that, and it doesn't happen overnight. Um, but for me, I don't know, I just sometimes that idea, I don't, I just don't like to think about it, and I mean, I don't like to think that it applies to myself because I feel like it could potentially hold me back in some ways. Sometimes, if you're, let's just say you're a music artist and you want to turn it into a lucrative business and you just start today with electronic music, it's going to be extremely difficult. I guess for me, the probably most producers out there that you create a lucrative business overnight. However, I believe that there's always a way, and that's the way I've looked at life ever since I can remember. So yeah, I believe, and it's a crazy thought, but if you find I guess most of the time it's a niche, and usually it involves something happening with current affairs in society, or just something that will attract lots of attention really quick. And if you do something creative on behalf of that, then it has the potential. Then it has the potential to blow up overnight. And technically, you don't even have to make it sound good, or you don't even have to make it look good. But by creating something like that, you can gain lots of followers and lots of attention. And even if it's not a lot of followers, you'll gain a lot of attention. And that, in my opinion, is what drives business for an artist that wants to make a living today in this world.
Thank you for your response. I like to ask compound questions. I'm sorry. It's just my style. My brain goes, ooh, and this and this and this. So if okay, if I ask you too many things or you need me to repeat, just let me know. Um, but yeah, like I excuse me, I agree that we kind of have a it's kind of an awesome advantage for artists, or catch 22, or a double-edged sword, mostly at times, in regards to the internet. Because you can make a living, and a lot of it does have to do with your attitude. Like, I think that's a major secret to life is the way you look at things. And so I'm glad you have a positive outlook. It's super important.
Yeah, I mean, but I think there's a lot of artists I totally disagree with. I feel like a lot of artists would call that selling out, where you just do something to make money and gain popularity overnight and blah, 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 blah. But, everybody's different, and for some people that's their dream, is to sell out, and they might not even know it, and they might deny it, but deep down inside, it might be their dream, and they might realize it when they're like 80 years old and on their deathbed. And I just think people are kind of crazy like that.
Right. Well, you gotta remember that we live in backwards land, and in a society built on consumerism and capitalism, if you don't quote unquote sell out, you're not making it. So it's the system's kind of built for you to have to sell out in a sense.
Well, there's a way. I mean, there's
Unless,
definitely ways.
yes.
It's just much more difficult to become an overnight success without selling out in some way, shape, or form. But the thing is, you know, and I'm glad we're talking about this because it kind of inspires me to, I guess, work more towards that direction, because when you sell out in that way, what you're doing is you're reaching a much wider audience of people, because, you know, what you're selling out to, whether it's like, you know, a current affair or like a new movie or just something that is in the minds of a lot of people and something that they're engaged with. You know, I just feel like it's a powerful tool to get those fans, and then once they see the rest of your work, if you are an artist who, I guess, has been doing it for a while, it's a way for people to find out about you and then, you know, wonder, hey, what else does this person do? And then if they see your other stuff, hear your other stuff, and, you know, they enjoy it, then you got a new fan pretty much. And I guess you're using a technique that enables, I guess it's like a shortcut, but selling out has such a bad rep in this world, and I guess that's why I've been kind of against it. But yeah, that's an interesting idea. Definitely gonna be thinking about that.
Technically, right now, you're anti-selling out. You know, you're on
pretty much.
you're on the anti-media. That's my bad pun. Sorry. Not sorry.
Look, sometimes I enjoy watching news just because it's really funny.
Right? You like, at least my life's not that bad.
But I don't know, when they show stuff like that's tragic, it's not that funny. But I've seen videos of, you know, news reporters talking about tree roots that are uprooting sidewalks, and like, it's on the evening news. I remember this from when I was younger, and it just blew my mind that they were just, I don't know, I think of it now as just feeding people cardboard information. But some people, I feel like, you know, they like cardboard information, and that's what they enjoy, and anything else is just too shocking to them, and or anything else will cause them, you know, a lot of discomfort. Like, if the news were to really just one evening just really tell it like it was and say what's going on in terms of, I don't know, the general consensus about society and who controls it and money and the Federal Reserve and blah, blah, blah.
Are you there? Ooh, he said Federal Reserve and his phone cut out. Isn't that interesting? Hey, buddy. I lost you again. Can't hear you, mysteriously. Can you hear me? All right, guys, I'm going to try and call our guests right back. Good old typical technical errors. So you get to hear a single really awkward song while we wait. Woo! Go team. All right.
Anyway.
Hey, buddy. Sorry, I meant to tell you that you can say fuck and all the other words, but for some reason when you say Federal Reserve, we always get cut off.
Really?
I swear.
So, the FR. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so the FR, like, okay, on just catching up to where I left off, I think that if, you know, in the evening news, if people really, you know, the sheeple, I guess, as the anti-media people call them, but the sheeple themselves don't call themselves the sheeple because they know who's the quarterback of what, you know, this team and that team, and or they know what kind of car that is or what kind of car that is, or they know how to fix this part of the car. So they're smart and they're not stupid, and they don't follow anybody because people follow them. People come to them to get their car fixed. People come to them to provide entertainment for the night because of a football game. Blah 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 blah. Just that whole idea. If on the evening news people were to be informed about what's really going on, I guess in terms of the general consensus of people that really study this stuff and figure out what the FR is doing, blah 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 blah. I feel like they would be terrified almost and feel as if if they're really paying attention. I feel like a lot of those people would be terrified, and some of them wouldn't believe that it was real,
right?
And it would. I feel like it would cause a lot of pain and a lot of suffering, and I feel like the universe is going to fix this problem of information not being in everybody's mind. In terms of like people that are living in a society but don't even really know how it works, because if they found out, they would find out that they're kind of slaves in a way, maybe, but they got their TV and all that other stuff. And some people, have got yachts and race cars, and it's like, who cares if you're a slave? I got a race car and you don't. Like, blah blah blah. I just feel like I don't know. I mean, it could happen. Something like that could happen, but I feel like gravity or whatever you want to call it, whatever makes the Earth spin, I feel like that kind of has some sort of control over making sure that the information gets to those people in the most peaceful way as possible. But it doesn't make sense when I say that because of terrorism and all this other stuff. So
You're talking about the natural balance, right?
I mean, it's just crazy because when I think about terrorism, I just think, well, did all those people that died in that terrorist attack get killed because they deserved it, because of karma, or were they just in the wrong place at the wrong time?
Can I tell you my thoughts?
But I do know that. Well, yeah, I don't know, and I know that I don't know, but I have some opinions. And sometimes we'll change about that stuff because I'll really think about it, and then new things will come into my head, and I'll think, you know what? Never mind. Yeah, it's interesting.
I like talking to you. You brought up a lot of good points. First of all, yes, it is very scary when you realize that you live in an illusionary world of choice and that you're actually a consumer, a massive consumer, stuck in a system that you didn't design, that has no rhyme or reason, but you're adhered to it either way. That is a daunting, horrible fucking thing to realize. Trust me. Like, I realized that when I was like 12, and I was like, why in the hell am I on this earth? Why am I even here? Seriously, like, and a lot of Americans ignore it, especially, and you know why?
Why's that?
They literally cannot mentally process it. It's called cognitive dissonance. It's a defense mechanism, and when you learn something that goes against the core of your truth of who you are, like your false association of character, because what you were talking about earlier, those what you call them the sheeple, it's what I call human doings versus human beings. They're just doing. They're doing, unconsciously doing. And then one day they realize that they can be, and they start to ponder deeply, like you were talking about. It's beautiful that you can change your mind about things based on new things. That's wonderful. Don't ever, ever, ever lose that. Because these people, these human doings, they think about the things deeply, right? And they ponder. And then they get to that moment where they can go, maybe that's not true, or maybe because of this could happen. And instead of having that moment of like clarity and pondering and filtering through shit, they just they completely dismiss it because it goes against who they think they are, and they cannot allow change.
Yeah, I mean, and then part of me, thinks, well, if you really look at Earth and like what's going on here, how people, pull to the side of the road when the police car rolls down the street, and how people in the military follow orders no matter what, and like if you don't follow the orders, you get kicked out, and other penalties, you can go to jail, so all that stuff. I just think it's such a fragile system, even though it seems to be, rock hard, but I think it's very fragile if you look at it from far away, because, if everyone did find out, then getting from A to B, and, A being right now would be being the new Earth paradigm, or whatever you want to call it, where we where something happens that isn't what's currently happening with the FR and all that other stuff. Yeah, just getting from here to there, I think is just a very, 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 very crazy process. And I don't feel like maybe one person could do it. I just think that it's just crazy. It's going to be absolutely crazy to see how it happens and if it happens. And part of me thinks that if it doesn't happen, it's because the system is in place to maybe keep technology safe and energy safe, and I know there's green energy and all this other stuff, but I feel like part of the universe is very chaotic, and a lot of people are in fear of that. And if we were to get rid of the current system, would there be that safety that we have now? Even though there's terrorism now, which isn't safe, and everyone's still afraid, would it be better if it changed? And the answer is, I don't know, but I do know that, by putting more art and music kind of everywhere, for some people, it'll really help change things and make the world a better place, and make us happier slaves, so to say. But I don't think about this too much, but it's a crazy idea, and I'll have to think about it more. So, yeah.
Well, I don't think you're crazy. Excuse me. Most certainly for not questioning your surroundings and the powers of at hand. That's not crazy. What's crazy to me is the fact that we've been conditioned to think that it's crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I do think it's crazy is because when you start looking into this stuff, I feel like you jump into this rabbit hole, and it almost never ends, because you don't know. I mean, there's just only, if you're not in the inner circle of people controlling this regime on Earth, then I guess how are you supposed to know that there aren't people controlling them, and then people controlling the people that are controlling them, and just infinitely beyond?
Oh, dude, you want to get into fractals? Here's the thing. I know you love fractals because I've seen your art, but you just literally described a fractal. And that's the thing, Adam, is we are fractal. Think about it. You and I are comparable to cells in a body, right? Except what we think we live on the earth. No, we live in it. Think of all the layers of atmosphere above us. We're like encased inside of a cell, if the earth was a cell. Right?
Yeah.
And then within inside us are smaller versions of us. Everything is a fractal. If you get down to the science and the math, that's exactly what it is.
It's crazy. Just don't stop the time, okay? Just don't stop the time.
Oh, we already stopped the time, man. We're already in the past.
Oh yeah, something really cool that I like to think about is, because it takes time for travel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know how people say, like, the stars, you may be looking up in the sky and you may be looking at a star, but it really might not actually be there because it exploded a long time ago, but the light is still shining when it didn't explode. The same concept applies to you looking at, let's see, a TV playing a movie, and when you're watching the movie, you think, well, I mean, it's just natural to think that the movie's present, and that's happening now, but really because it takes time for the light to travel from the TV to your eyes, you're constantly observing the past, and then if you hold up your hand and then look at your hand, you think it's there right now because it's connected to your body, but no, it's not, because what you're looking at is in the past. It takes time for the light from your hand to travel to your eyes, so you're not seeing it right now. And where this all leads to is this kind of crazy theory that I've had for a while, and I've had all kinds of people tell me, wow, that's genius, and then other people tell me, wow, that's crazy.
Oh my God, I can't wait to hear it. Tell me.
Well, just the whole idea of the imagination being now, and in that sense, if everything in this world is the past, then the imagination is
the future.
I don't know, either the future or the now. But I think the imagination would be the now, and the future would be the past, because the past hasn't happened yet. And when you think about it, it takes time to process those thoughts. It takes time to distinguish different shapes if you're visualizing images about the future. If you're imagining, let's just say, the White House in the future, what's it connected to? It takes time for you to imagine what's in the outer circle of whatever you're, I guess, thinking about in the future. And that time takes up time, which means that you're observing the past while observing that kind of time switch.
Well, crazy. I think there's a lot of power behind what you just said, and I've had similar thoughts, because when you observe nature, you can understand a lot of the universal laws that we're not born knowing. For existence, I know that it's nature's intention for me to be my absolute best because of homeostasis. If I wasn't supposed to evolve and be my best at every moment, then why would my cells strive for that? Right? That's got to be the purpose of my being, is to evolve.
Wait, why would you strive for what?
For homeostasis. Like, your cells are always cleaning, always repairing. That's like the purpose of your body. So I figured if the smallest parts of my body want to be ideal and evolve every moment, then in a sense, that's my job too, right? As a conscious being here in this place. And to kind of tie in with what you were saying about the future being the past, I can totally agree, because why would the powers at hand, whatever you call it, the elite, whatever, why would they spend so much effort trying to capture the essence of my mind? Why is my consciousness and my attention so important? And I've thought perhaps I'm molding the future based on my thoughts. And what we call gravity could possibly be our collective consciousness. And the importance of programming people or controlling them with fear and terrorism is so that you can control the future.
Yeah, that's right there.
That's an epic movie, bro. We just wrote a movie, all rights reserved, trademark that shit. Lavonne and Adam's film, don't you touch it. And there goes the capitalism. See, I'm programmed that way. Damn it.
Yeah, and another saying that is like connected to the whole idea of the light taking time to get to your eyes. I came up with this a while back, but it's I haven't thought about it in a while. It was like, if your dreams haven't come true yet, don't believe what you're seeing, because it's not happening right now.
I like that. Do you know much about quantum physics?
Yeah, I like quantum physics.
Yeah, you're basically describing a lot of the principles behind it. um, and I love quantum physics because we've sorry, I'm using my vape pen. I'm taking dabs right now. Woo! Dabs in the vape. Um, sometimes it chokes me out though, excuse me. What I like about quantum physics is that it allows us to demonstrate a lot of the unknown, the things that we would otherwise dismiss or call pseudoscience previously, we can actually demonstrate. Like, we've been able to demonstrate that particles are attached from very far distances, which would tie into the collective consciousness theory that a lot of people have.
They're attached like one or attached like touching?
Energetically, like say that I wanted to um, send you some energy, right? Say that I said, hey, Adam, I'm going to send you my blessings. I'm sending you all my positive thoughts, all my positive vibrations, right? Sending it to you right now. We could physically capture that energy if we had the right equipment that I just sent to you, is what quantum physics has shown us. Isn't
So where's the equipment
there's a lot of different things. Thermal imaging is one of them, and all this other fancy equipment. But these are the things that our society is aware of, and those are the things that are suppressed, like the things that could evolve our consciousness and propel humanity into an entire regenerative type of lifestyle is suppressed. And I wonder why. Why? What would be the point of that? Like, and it makes one wonder that if it's not something as miraculous as we think, but who knows?
I think it could maybe be because there's some people in life that are like the big gorilla with the silver back and but just human, and they're just like, hey, look at me. I have the biggest house. I've got the biggest this. I got the biggest that. I've got the most this. I got the most that. I got the most money. Blah blah blah. It's just like ha ha ha. Life is competitive. Look at nature. The gazelle runs away from the lion. Lion almost always catches the gazelle, but sometimes they get away. I think there's a huge competitive thing going on with the people that control, that suppress technology. And if there's not, then I guess they wouldn't be competing, then they would be collaborating, and then who would they be working with? And the question is, are they working with something else that is out there that's convincing them, that's not human, whether it's like some kind of demonic stuff or alien stuff or just something crazy. Because if you research into people that may control that suppressed technology, you'll find out that some of them seem to do some crazy ritual stuff, but everybody goes crazy.
Yeah, I mean, anything can be seen as a crazy ritual, like going to the grocery store every week. That could be a really crazy ritual depending on your culture.
Yeah.
But I do hear what you're saying, though. There is a lot of interesting rituals that go along with certain cultures.
The gravity. So the collective consciousness gravity.
Yes.
Making if that's controlling all this right now, do you think that you can increase your force on gravity through intention, or no? Or do you feel like more, if you get a bunch of people together?
I have a hypothesis that would take a lot of energy, but before I pass into another realm and leave this body, I'm so glad you asked me. I've only told one other person this, but I have this theory that what we call gravity is us. and I want to prove it. I think that if I want to prove it. Yeah, I think what we call gravity is our collective consciousness. And I do think we could have an effect on it. And I think that if I got enough people to like collectively meditate on the same thing, maybe I could lead like a worldwide group meditation one day when I'm like a super old lady. And I want to have a demonstration or a massive an experiment to see if we could like all consciously do something together that's noticeable. Like, wouldn't that be amazing?
Um, yeah, I had some crazy, crazy, crazy thoughts in the past that I'm now unsure of. I mean, there's still there as possibilities, and I don't know if technology would help, but let's just say you get like, I don't know, a million people gather together and to imagine, I guess, just something. Would you, is your theory related to that something happening in that instant and all those people collectively experiencing that something, or is your theory involved with a bunch of people getting together, imagining that something, and then, stopping that collectiveness kind of thing, and then spreading out, and then going off into the world, and then acting upon that something?
I mean, it wouldn't be instantaneous, but I think there would be that natural delay, like the sun rays take a certain amount of time to get to Earth. I think that there would be that natural delay, but I think it would be, I mean, gravity's pretty instantaneous, right? I don't know. It's just an idea I have. Like, my point is that we're way more powerful than we know. I've studied the human body for over 10 years, and I've physically touched over 200,000 people because I used to work at a healing center. I feel the energy people generate when they're well versus not well, versus in a good mood versus in a bad mood. People, you can feel people, like when you hear your favorite song, when you hear somebody talk with passion, or when you hear a certain tone, you feel it, right?
Yeah, like all that, it kind of made me think about um, oneness, and when one who doesn't know about oneness discovers oneness. I don't know. For me, when it happened to me, I was like, "Oh my God, I need to somehow share this with the entire world."
Mm.
And then slowly over time, I started realizing, or not realizing, but just thinking, well, what if? Like, what if there's people that, were born to never understand it, we're predestined to never understand it. I like the saying, life's like a waterfall, we're one in the river, we're going to get off the fall by switching them down in their song Ariels. But I got the theory that before we're born, we're somehow way more connected than we are right now, which is kind of represented by the waterfall. But then when we die, we get back into the bottom of the waterfall. But in terms of that oneness idea, I just think that, for me, at one point, and it still is, at this level of, convincement in my mind where I'm absolutely convinced that I'm talking to myself, which is you.
Yes.
But I'm in your body, and
yes,
we've had different bodies, we've had different child memories, we've had different experiences, blah blah blah. But we're different, but we're the same. We're just energy. This energy you're talking about, and if you don't believe in energy, everything is made up of atoms, and if you look at it that way, then well,
those are the words. Those are the words I know to describe it. Those are the tools I have to tell you about the thing I know. But I believe very much in energy. That's what we are.
Well, yeah, I mean, science, modern day science is widely accepted by pretty much everybody. Like, pretty much everybody that learns science realizes that everything is made out of atoms, and but it just doesn't look like that when you look at a tree and then look at a car, and they look different. if you use the knowledge that society teaches you, teaches to the people and to everybody, then it just doesn't make sense, because why is it different if it's all the same?
It's perception, like you were talking about earlier. My motto is change your perception, alter your world. And I've lived that. And I'm sure you have too, based on the way that you're speaking. I feel like being part of the waterfall is personal to me. You know, like you have your place in the waterfall, I have my place in the waterfall, and I'm where I'm supposed to be for me so that I can get where I need to be for everyone else. And like, yes, yes. And isn't it amazingly spectacular how I'm me and you're you, and Gandhi was him, and Jesus was him, and Buddha was him, and all these people throughout history from different cultures, different demographics, have all said the same thing. I wonder how that is.
Yeah, it's crazy when I think about that. Like a long time ago, or in every single moment, if you try to cross the time, I feel like you can, I guess, reach out to that nothingness slash everythingness, because when you stop the time, and music with beats helps me do it. Meditation helps other people do it. It's like one beat versus a bunch of beats if you're listening to house music or electronic music or any kind of music with beats. I feel like those beats can sometimes help people connect with timelessness. Like if you ever hear a song and if the song just makes you, I don't know, get goosebumps, or the song makes you lose track of time and you're just in that moment and it feels really good. I feel like what that is it's like a almost like a portal, because if there's no time, then there's 100% space, because we live in space-time. This is another one of my theories.
Tell me.
It's the whole idea that if you want to access all space, then you need to go through some kind of portal, because it's pretty much impossible. Like, it doesn't make sense. But I was, through crazy thinking and meditation and all that, I realized, well, it seems like the simplest way to access everything would be through nothing, which is what happens when time stops. And I guess where I'm getting to is the whole concept of that everything, like what is it, and what do you feel when you stop time, and also what do you feel when you don't stop time, when there's just time and no space. What is it that you feel when there's no space and just time?
Anxiety.
Is that everything still there, or is that nothing still there? And essentially, what this is all getting to is the whole idea that everything and that nothing, I feel like, it's mind blowing. I feel like it's just so beyond our
comprehension,
our brain's ability to figure it out that we can't, but we can kind of feel it and kind of see like parts of it and clusters of it. But I feel like it goes forever, and I feel like it got bored or something and evolved, or it was always this way. It decided to make you and me different out of it, and it is us. But because of the way the FR works and press technology, maybe it doesn't want us all to know that right now. Otherwise, I feel like it would want us to, and we would, because it's like that's the power of all powers, essentially, because it controls time and space. It is time and space.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it's a crazy idea. It's something that, words can really not do too much about, and I feel like, if the universe is infinite, or if the universe is like a fractal, uh, the only way to understand a fractal, like you said, is to see the fractal and not do the fractal.
Mm-hmm. Well, well said. I like all that jazz.
But
And
also, the universe, I feel like, in some aspects, is in a fractal too. But that's, I don't know. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
when you say crazy, I think you mean overwhelming. And I think it is incomprehensible, hence why humans still don't know why the fuck we're here, mostly.
It's that, but it's also crazy, like the loony bin, like there's a lot of people that think about this stuff and get sent to psych wards, the loony bin,
Dude, I'm already considered a national terrorist because I speak against the government and make signs and speak my mind publicly. You know, it's like to be an activist and protest. Like they consider you a terrorist. So the words, it's
What's that?
and it's just typical of backwards land. You know, kids are being put on drugs for being kids and wondering why. You and I are simply wondering why. And I think it's a very normal thing to do. And it's sad that it's bred out of us, you know, to sit around and ponder deeply about creation and experience is a taboo in our society. Like everything you and I have basically discussed tonight, which I love, by the way, thank you, is considered a taboo. But that's exactly why I do it. Because our creator, our universe, our source, whatever you call it, us, our our body maybe even, you know, maybe we're just cells in a body, think about that. Whatever that is, put me here with this conviction, my,
Oh,
you
that's a
know,
crazy topic.
but well, we all have our own thing. Like B cells repair. They work with T cells to heal. Like white blood cells do a certain thing, red blood cells do a certain thing. What if I'm a certain kind of cell and that's why I have to speak about certain things that I realize? And maybe it's my job to connect all the other cells, and that's why I do what I do. You know, maybe I have a pre-programmed little code in me that it knows what to do. Like B cells don't walk around going, why in the hell do I have to do this job? You know, they just do it. They inherently do it. And I feel like every single one of us people, and that's why I try and inspire people just to love themselves and wake up every day grateful no matter what, because you've got something you're supposed to do. I don't know what it is. Hopefully you figure it out. But I really, really believe that. In my soul, I believe that because I've seen it so many times. And we all call it different things, though. And that's what separates us, I think.
Yeah. Um, I think it's also pretty crazy, like quantum physics, that like if you're bouncing a basketball on the ground, or if you like make love with somebody, or if you shake somebody's hand, quantum physics has proven so far that this is correct, and that's that nothing ever touches anything else, and that's what I've learned
Ever.
so far. It could be wrong. Maybe they figured out something else, but I just think that maybe on the cellular level, like there's, maybe our cells think it's impossible, or maybe our atoms think it's impossible for us all to become one, because on their level they literally can't even touch each other. Like when a basketball hits the ground and makes a noise, or when you clap your hands and it makes a sound, your hands never touch, but it makes a sound. And I just think that okay, so our hands do touch, they make a sound, but really they don't. So there's that duality, and I feel like because we hear the sound, that's created by our hands clapping, we're convinced that it's real, and it's more real than something that is just a hypothesis, or something that on has figured out some weird way, and they figured out it's real, and if maybe we observe it that way, it'll change. And I feel like we can't in any moment do that, but in terms of words and being able to fully describe that experience, it's just, I guess, better for me to just stop talking, because I don't feel like words can fit into that hole, so to say, or I don't think there's enough words to fill that hole. And it's both of those things that describes that idea of things truly becoming connected, and things just truly becoming connected. And again, like you said earlier, I think the answer to that question is through being, but it doesn't really give an answer.
I think we have to be. I think we have to be collectively. Like, imagine if we were all in a space together, like a big open field, and there were very few structures, okay, just a plain. And imagine we were in close proximity to each other. I've never had more people try and call my show than tonight, by the way, and I'm so sorry to answer. I'm not answering. I am not able to, based on technology tonight. We kind of Jimmy rigged the show. I'm sorry. I love you.
Wait. Did you say imagine we're in a field of coal, like stuff that burns on fire?
No, imagine we're in an empty field, like a plain without many structures, right? Which is like a plain, and there's a lot of people there, and we're just kind of being collectively, And imagine if we're all making a sound, and it's not a word, but it's like a ambiance kind of. You know how you can make like you can make a tone?
Yeah.
Imagine if we were all doing that, okay? And then we all become little transmitters, little vibration patterns of sound. And if we all tune ourselves to each other, I imagine that we could feel what we're talking about. Because I don't think what you and I are talking about is a word. I'm pretty sure it's a sound hiding inside of a word. And I say this.
Birds chirping.
Yeah, it's a tone. And I've done a lot of research about lasers, about music, about cellular biology, physiology, physics, quantum physics. I'm that girl growing up who didn't want to hang out with people. I hung out with books, a lot of books. And I realized that everything really, truly, truly is vibration. And anytime that I've had what you would call a spiritual experience or a phenomenon or, I don't know, like an out-of-body experience or something, just something miraculous happened to me. Whatever the word is that people call it to describe that thing, I've always heard this very specific sound, and it took me a really long time to hear it in a conscious mind, like not in a state of being, like deep state of being. And I realized that what we call heaven or God or that feeling, that it has a certain tone, and it's like 528 hertz. Is that the craziest thing you've ever heard?
I've heard that tone before, and it's awesome and stuff, but I've also heard other music that isn't that tone, and it's also kind of equally as awesome. But in terms of that, and I love solfeggio frequencies. They're awesome.
So you know about that? There's certain tones that really evoke certain emotions, and then the opposite ones have the opposite effects. Kind of what we were talking about earlier, like the yin and yang, or the good karma, bad karma, whatever we call it. It's visible, it's audible.
Yeah, I understand you. What's interesting, I'll share this because it came up in my mind. When you were mentioning that sound, that it's the sound of heaven or the sound of everything else that you described as that sound. What came to me was that sound, if it could be converted into English language in a sentence. I mean, I'm sure there's many ways to describe it, and this way it probably won't be able to help all people, but the sound for me is translated into English as, again, don't stop. And once again, it's don't stop the time. Because if you think about it, if you don't stop the time, I guess if you believe in heaven, then if you don't stop the time, that is connect to heaven, because you're already there. So time necessarily, I mean, it exists, but it doesn't exist because you're just constantly flowing through it, and you can't stop it, so you can't mark it. You can't say that it's Friday, you can't say that it's Saturday, because if you do that, you stop the time. And that was kind of, I don't know, I've always thought about life in the universe and, asked the universe for answers or ways to better deal with my life, because I'm an artist, and I want to be very successful, and I want to be able to support myself and support a family and have nice things. And in terms of consumerism and all that, I really want I want to be able to create with things, and then there's a part of me that really wants really expensive things. And I don't know if that's a bad thing, not just, but maybe it was programmed into me, maybe it wasn't, but just the thought of having a $1 billion yacht, or the thought, and that's so selfish when you think about oneness and all the other people that want that yacht and they don't have it, and you keep it yourself and just your friends and family, but not your true family, which is the one in all of us. And I get very
Adam, we're out of time. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to check in with you again soon. Thanks for everything. We're going to talk again.
I'ma let them know, no, through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo.
Truth on the Tracks you can catch every Monday night and Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on UCY